Psalms chapter 49 and verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. First and foremost, all praises are due to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth. Salutations to the brothers around the four corners of the earth who are teaching this word in truth and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect, a few men, women, and children that believe in this word. This is your brother Kawad Saabad coming at you with another lesson. This one is entitled, Once It's Destroyed, Babylon America Will Not Rise Up Again. And of course, we know who the man is, who the people are who are in power. They are known as the Edomites, descended from Esau, the so-called white man. And they think that their world, their way of life is going to last forever. But the scriptures definitely contradict that. Let's read this again. Psalms 49 in verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. This is definitely speaking about Esau, the Edomites, because we know they've conquered lands and put their own names on the land. All right? Let's get a precept to denounce the fact that they're not, their land, their way of life is not going to last forever. Let's go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 6 and verse 9. For Esau, so-called white man, our adversary, is the end of the world, this evil temporal world. And Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Jacob is speaking of what? The 12 tribes. Jacob had 12 sons. All right, the 12 tribes of Israel, also known as the so-called Blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, here in Babylon, America, and scattered throughout the world like the sand of the seashore. So we got next. And as you can see, Esau is on the ropes because Esau is being revealed. The son of perdition, the son of destruction is being revealed, okay, to the whole world for the devil that he is, for his ways. All the other nations are realizing who this devil is, all right? So he knoweth that he hath but a short time, as it says in Revelation 12 and 12. So he wants to fast track, of course, the MOTB, spoken of Revelation 13 and verse 16, because he wants to be like Yahweh, the Most High. Let's go to Nahum chapter 1 to refute, okay, that this devil's kingdom is not going to last forever. Let's go to Nahum chapter 1. Nahum chapter 1, let's read verse 2. It says here, Yahweh is jealous, and the Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. Now we know the scripture says in Romans, okay, Esau have I hated, and Jacob have I loved, roughly paraphrasing. So he loves us, the Hebrew Israelites, the apple of his eye. But he hates Esau, even though he created Esau. We know in Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 7, it states, I create good, I create evil. I create light, I create darkness, roughly paraphrasing. Nahum 1 and verse 3, it says, the Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. We know the wicked is Esau, Edomites, so-called white man. They are the sons of the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind, and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebuketh the sea and maketh it dry, and drieth up all the rivers. Bashan languisheth, and Carmel, and the flower of Lebanon languisheth. So he does what he wants, basically, okay? The Lord is omnipotent. The Lord Yahweh has created everything. Let's read Nahum 1 and verse 5. It says, the mountains quake at him, and the hills melt, and the earth is burnt at his presence. Yea, the world and all that dwell therein. Who can stand before his indignation, his righteous anger? And who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. So Babylon America is going to be destroyed by nuclear missiles from Russia and the other nations, and laser fire from the chariots, never to be inhabited again. It's going to be pure fire for Babylon America. It's going to be destroyed. The only ones that are going to survive the destruction of Babylon America are the 1/3, the remnant of the Hebrew Israelites who have come back to the Lord in truthfulness and sincerity. All right, if you're not part of the elect, you're going to be burnt in that fire. That includes 2/3 of our people that don't want to hearken to this word, despite the men of the Lord preaching this gospel 24/7 on the highways and the byways and doing thousands of lessons on the unicorn, also known as the internet. Let's read verse 6. Let's go to verse 8. Nahum 1 and verse 8. Let's read this again. Nahum 1 in verse 6. Who can stand before his indignation, and who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. Verse 8 says, but with an overrunning flood, he will make an utter end of the place thereof, and darkness shall pursue his enemies. Let's read Nahum 1 and verse 9, the NLT. It says, why are you scheming against the Lord? How dare you, Esau? He will destroy you with one blow. He won't need to strike twice. You see, once the Lord, brings those missiles, from Russia and the other nations, and Yahushua comes with the myriad of angels, and they're going to add to the fire that's already going to be kindled, Luke 12 and 49, he won't need to strike twice. Once it's destroyed, Babylon America will not rise up again. Let's get some more precepts. Isaiah 34. Isaiah chapter 34, and let's read verse 1. And it reads, come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken ye the people. Let the earth hear, and all that is in therein, the world and all things that come forth of it. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them, he hath delivered them to the slaughter. Now this is a future prophecy. Of course, in Joel 3, the valley of decision, the Lord's going to gather all the armies of the world in one place to bring his righteous anger, his indignation against them, also known as the War of Armageddon. But the main enemy, of course, is the Edomites, so-called white man, descended from Esau. Let's read Isaiah 34 and verse 3. It says, their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountain shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall roll together as a scroll. Just like during World War II, you had the atomic bomb that went off against Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan. It looked like a scroll that was rolled up, a big mushroom cloud. Let's read this again. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their host shall fall down, as a leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea. So this is speaking of Babylon America. And upon the people of my curse to judgment. Now we know Idumea is the Greek name for Edom. Isaiah 34 and verse 6 says, the sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Now we know Bozrah was the capital of Edom, but this is speaking of Babylon America. It's going to be one big sacrifice via fire. You know, many things are cleansed via fire. Fire cleanses many things. Let's read verse 7. It says, and the unicorns shall come down with them. That's speaking of the satellites that this devil has put up. And the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, in the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. This place is going to be a lake of fire. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever, from generation to generation. It shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. Now, the fire eventually is going to go down from the nuclear missiles and laser fire from the chariots eventually in Babylon. It's not going to be a burning land forever and ever, okay? That's just what you would call a figure of speech. Let's read Isaiah 34 and verse 11. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it, the owl also and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness. So the only thing that's going to be here after the fire dies down is wild animals and wild birds, reptiles, so on and so forth. Let's go to Isaiah 13 in verse 6 for another precept. Once you go down, Esau, you're not going to rise up. Isaiah 13 and verse 6 reads, it says here, howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt when they see those missiles by the millions coming towards Babylon, America in particular. Isaiah 13 and verse 8, and they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth, that's pregnant. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames, in total shock. Okay, can you imagine millions and millions of missiles that look like arrows in the sky coming towards you? In verse 9 reads, behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land, Babylon, America, desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Verse 10 reads, for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. That's from the millions and millions of missiles coming towards Babylon, America, and the smoke and the fire once they hit this place. Verse 11 reads, and I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked, the sons of the wicked, Esau, Edom, so-called white man, and I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. We know Esau is very proud. He thinks his way is going to last forever, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Let's go to verse 17. Isaiah 13, verse 17 reads, it says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. So this is speaking of course, Russia. Russia is in the land that the Medes and Persians once occupied, okay? A long time ago in the ancient days. Russia occupies that land now. So when it says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, there's also a precept in Ezekiel 38, I believe verse 1, where he will put the hooks in the jaws of the Russians to come against Babylon, America, because Babylon, America is a guard to Israel, okay, those fake small hats that are in our land, and Russia is a guard to Persia, also known as Iran. So everything's setting up for World War III. Let me start again. Isaiah 13, verse 17. Isaiah 13, verse 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes, the Russians, against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight it. So they're not going to be tempted by Babylon America's money, which really isn't worth anything. It's just paper being printed. There's no gold or silver backing it. Verse 18 reads, their bowls also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, on any children. Okay? Russia's not going to care about the children that are going to be killed on the day of the Lord. Okay? They're not going to give two fucks. They're going to launch those missiles. Their eyes shall not spare children. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, when it says in Babylon, it means Babylon, America. Okay, the land paved with gold streets. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. What happened in Sodom and Gomorrah? It was burnt with fire and brimstone from the heavens. This time around, the fire and brimstone is going to be what? Via nuclear missiles from Russia and other nations by the millions coming towards Babylon, America. Let's read this again. Isaiah 13 and verse 19. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. This is the kicker right here. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs, wild goats, shall dance there. All right? And the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. Once it's destroyed, Babylon, America will not rise up again. And all praises are due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rekakwadash. I hope this lesson was edifying to you. Shalom.